wish my friend Tracy Morgan was here tonight, and I know that he was hoping that he would be well enough to be here too. And if he were here tonight, I'm sure Tracy would remind us that more than anything, he would like to get us all pregnant.
A lighthearted moment, that of course from this past weekend, SNL's 40th anniversary, but it comes obviously with serious conditions surrounding comedian Tracy Morgan, still recovering from an injuries he sustained in that devastating crash that killed one of his friends, and he's filed, has Morgan, a civil lawsuit against Walmart. Doug, let me ask you this in terms of the driver in this particular accident was working far beyond the allowed number of hours that he could have been consecutively on the road for. In fact, he passed out from exhaustion or tired, and that's what caused this accident. At least that's what we believe to this point. Does his being a private contractor have any less mitigating responsibility on Walmart? What is Walmart responsible for? You've been involved in related cases like that in terms of what they owe Morgan or his estate or his family.
Well, Walmart is ultimately on the hook because it's there. I mean, they're sending out these trucks, they're hiring them, they're sending them out. There could be other people that are involved. As far as Walmart goes, though, you're going to look at how much supervision and control they actually have of the situation. Do they basically leave the products there and then another company picks them up and takes them away and they pay for that? You really have to study the facts. If it's a Walmart driver, that's different than a guy who's an independent contractor, but it won't absolve Walmart from liability ultimately. It could be 2 parties, 3 parties, there could be multiple parties involved here.
When we're talking about it, if you go to a private contractor status for somebody, do you in any way immunize yourself in terms of that's different than a full-time employee for me? This is somebody that's basically, yeah, he's got Walmart on the side of his truck here, but you know, he's operating basically as an independent contractor outside of my full employ.
Absolutely. That's what you're kind of doing. You require people to have insurance that work for you if you're Walmart, insurance on their trucks and their drivers. But it's just like if you are at your house and you hire painters and then you walk around telling them to go up that ladder and change this and do that. Well, now you're involved in the process, and that's going to be a question of how much they're involved in the process. I think ultimately they're involved and there is going to be culpability, but how much is the question.
Interesting. And finally, when they figure out how much would be due, is that tricky in terms of finding out what would have his potential income been for the balance of his life? Is it a simple formula? How do they figure out, you know, the value of, let's say, his career versus maybe somebody else's that was making 30 grand a year instead of Morgan, who's obviously a high-profile performer? Well,
Tracy Morgan, he made a lot of money. They're going to hire economists that are going to look at how much he made in the past, project how much he'll make in the future, find out whether he'll work or not, if there's anything that will mitigate those costs. That's one thing they'll look at. The other pocket that you'll be looking at is whether the past and future pain and suffering. And apparently he went through many operations, he's in the future. And so these are all things that are going to be considered. In his case, I think it's going to be a big number.
Thank you guys very much. When we come back here, I'm going to have a look at news making headlines in the Valley. We'll be right back.